From the worldwide headquarters of More Sports and Les Levine on a Thursday night. Good evening, everyone. Welcome once again to More Sports and Les Levine into our 23rd consecutive year. And as always, seen exclusively on cleveland.com. I'm Les Levine. This, the D-Man, Dennis Maniloff, Cleveland Plain Dealer and cleveland.com. And you are wired tonight. Well,
you know
you're
what,
usually
Les?
wired.
First of all, I want to issue an apology to you and the viewers for leaving the show about a minute early 3 years ago. So I apologize for that.
Oh, this sounds like LeBron and Kyrie.
Yes. Wonderful job, Kyrie. Thank you very much for calling LeBron now. Much appreciated.
I actually thought you were apologizing for breaking the chair last week.
Yeah, I could have done that too. So, and Mike Bacon has to pay that bill. I apologize, Mike.
Oh, he didn't know till right now.
Oh, boy. Listen, I'm going to preface the criticism of Kyrie by saying this. He will always make that shot. No matter how many times you watch that three-pointer, it's going in, and the Cavs win the title. So nothing will ever detract from that part of it.
Doesn't mean he can't be wacky.
Yeah. I mean, he could say the earth is square. He could say water is hot. I don't know, whatever he wants to do.
It's wet.
The opposite of wet. But here's the thing. I call BS to an extent on what he was saying. And it stems from the fact that Irving always wants to elevate himself to LeBron's status.
Right.
So that's why he name drops LeBron. He didn't have to say that. He didn't have to go public with that. He could have kept that under wraps.
Right,
but
so
he couldn't wait to tell everybody.
For those who don't know, after the game the other night, they passed him up and gave an open shot.
Hayward took the shot.
Hayward took the shot. And so after the game, Kyrie very upset with Hayward to the point where he felt he had to call LeBron, who, by the way, just happened to be having dinner with Kevin Love at the time. And
strange how the NBA world works, isn't it?
It is strange. And he wanted to apologize to basically say, and I'll prefacing the words, that he understands now why LeBron was rough on him, Kyrie, because Kyrie was rough on some of the younger guys on the Celtics.
Sure. In the wake of the Hayward scolding, Irving demonstrably upset on the court that he didn't get the ball or that Hayward didn't pass it to him or whatnot. Maybe he was upset with the degree of difficulty of the shot in the corner. But in the wake of that, the percolation of, okay, is Irving really on board with the Celtics? Is he going to stay? Of course, he goes to New Jersey, doesn't play, and is serenaded with Kyrie's leaving, chants from the Barclays crowd. So they're, I guess they're a little edgy around Boston. So Kyrie takes it upon himself to say, hey, I am the man, and I realized that I made a mistake, and that in trying to lead these other guys, I needed to get a little advice from LeBron. And while I was doing that, I apologized to him for jacking him up a few years ago. So to me, it's a little too late, more than a little too late. But I will say this too, Les. LeBron and Kyrie did try to successfully defend. They were back in 2017
they had one extra year
and lost to the Durant Warriors in 5 games. If Irving had bolted or said, I want out after the 16 season and didn't come back with LeBron to defend, then I'd be furious.
Right.
But knowing that they had a shot at defending and it didn't go well, I'm less offended.
All right, I'm a little offended that he didn't apologize to the Cleveland fans while he was at it. We'll talk about that a little bit later. 216-575-0403 is the number to call. You can email us during the show at reallesLevine@gmail.com. Get it on during the show. We will read it. We'll do a little editing on it. By the way, D-Man, you know how at the beginning of the show I always say from the worldwide headquarters of More Sports and Les Levine? Today I spoke to a gentleman from Singapore. Do you want me to repeat that?
I heard that in the green room.
You want me to repeat that? From Singapore.
Is that next to Sagamore Hills?
Could be. It's on the other side of the world. And he's a former Clevelander. He's lived there, I believe he told me, 13 years. He's watching our show on cleveland.com, which listen, I don't know that much about the technology, but just for me to say some guy from Cleveland is watching us and bringing his friends along. Hey, let's watch More Sports and Les Levine tonight here in Singapore on cleveland.com. Amazing. Kevin, it was great talking to you today and looking forward to hearing from you more. He's going to be in town in a couple of months. Maybe we'll drag him out here. I was going to say if it's not too far for him to go, but when you live in Singapore, how far can you drive that's too far around here?
Well, jet ski over to the United States.
Whatever. 216-575-0403 is the number to call. Let's check out MS and LL headlines for the day. Brought to you by our friends at Northfield Park, your home for live and simulcast racing. As D-Man and I talked about, Kyrie Irving apologizes to LeBron James while he is at dinner with Kevin Love, but he doesn't apologize to Cleveland fans. How about this one, D-Man? You pointed it up. Sports Illustrated talked about this. Manny Machado mulling over a 7-year, $175 million deal with the Chicago White Sox. And for all of you people who assumed, and including the Indians front office, who assumed that there's that window of opportunity that's way open, you get Machado, you get a couple of these other people, Cruz going to Minnesota. I don't know.
Yeah, I've been sounding the alarm about the White Sox as the next good team in the Central. This would obviously expedite it greatly if they were able to land him. The White Sox have not shied away from spending money over the years. I did read in the Sports Illustrated piece. Now, Buster Olney was among those who tweeted those figures, 7 for 175.
Right.
But I read in a Sports Illustrated story where the author said that it was incredibly insulting to Machado that it would only be 175 mil. For a player his skills, his age, and whatnot. I say, hey, this market is cold right now for a reason. It's many reasons, two of whom are Harper and Machado.
Right.
But I'm not sure that the money is going to be there for those two guys that they think they should get, because a lot of the teams are looking at their budgets and looking at their analytics and saying, players, even as great as Harper and Machado, might not be worth what they thought they were.
And here's another factor, and you know as well as anybody, I can't think of anybody who's had an 8 or 9 or 10-year contract where that contract has owned up to itself throughout the entire length of the deal.
That's exactly right. That's what teams, even the big money teams, are weighing right here.
A-Rod didn't make it.
I mean, they're saying, do we have to commit to a guy for 6, 7, 8 years? The Pujols contract, the breakdown of Pujols, even though he's put up numbers, there's still nothing compared to what he's getting paid. And I don't believe it's collusion either, Les. You hear the players say, who are used to getting paid at every turn.
And they're the ones who establish what that money, quote, should be.
Yeah, and they're thinking, well, wait a minute, we're not getting paid anymore, or not getting paid to what we think we deserve?
Yeah, it's collusion.
It must be collusion. I'm saying it's the new school advanced look at the way you run your team and the way you value players.
Right.
And what these new school Harvard or Ivy League or computer-generated front office thinkers think is our numbers and analytics tell us that you're only worth X number of dollars.
And there isn't that much difference between you and somebody else who you might not think is that.
That's not collusion. Yeah. That's, in their minds, that's enhanced intel.
Correct. All right, 216-575-0403. Email us during the show at reallesLevine at gmail.com. Dennis Maniloff of Cleveland Plain Dealer and cleveland.com is with us. You can also follow us on Facebook, facebook.com/More Sports and Les Levine, with new content posted each and every day. We'll take a look at some of your responses that we asked a question about Kyrie Irving's apology. And I'm not apologizing for anything. More Sports and Les Levine continues in a moment, exclusively on cleveland.com.
The Ohio Lottery Partners in Education program has been recognizing role model students and teachers since 2007. To nominate a deserving teacher or student, go to OhioLottery.com. In the About section, find Supporting Education. There, you can nominate students in kindergarten through 12th grade as academic all-stars. Teachers can be honored as the Teacher of the Month. Every school that participates is eligible for the School of the Year. The Ohio Lottery Partners in Education, where stars shine.
All right, let's check out birthdays for today, the 17th of January. The greatest, Muhammad Ali, 1942. Can't do the show without this guy, Microphone, 1947. The judge, Dick Ambrose. Tom Thibodeau is out of a job. Dwayne Wade, he'll be out of a job at the end of this year. And Trevor Bauer will have a job somewhere, born in 1991.
You know, I know Ambrose's nickname was Bam Bam,
Yep.
but the judge is perfect because, I don't know, it's true.
Yeah, Judge
You know?
Ambrose. We were talking about it at the my weekly confab at Sokolowski's University and on Thursdays, and we were talking how Dick Ambrose was a linebacker, probably the size of what defensive backs are now, right?
Yeah, well, he wasn't huge by any
No, he
means.
wasn't. A lot
The
of those
guy
guys.
who reminds me of Ambrose is Schobert. Right?
Oh,
You
fair.
talk about size,
Yeah.
brains, the ability to sift through trash on the field. But anyway, I mean, I don't know. That
All
just
right, I don't want to cast aspersions on the NBA, but they had a game over in England today, in London, not at Wembley Stadium, an indoor place. New York Knicks and the who else? Who'd they
it was
play?
Knicks and the Wizards.
Wizards.
You caught me by surprise,
Yeah.
so I look it up. Wizards won. For those of you scoring at home, you probably already know this.
Right.
101 to 100 Wizards. But here was the key: fourth quarter, the Knicks must have hit the time zone trouble because the Wizards outscored them 24 to 11 in the fourth quarter to win by
well,
one.
because it had to be fixed to be that close to get an international. No, I'm only kidding.
Oh.
I'm sort of only kidding, but gambling will be coming to a sport near you very, very soon.
Yes.
Let's go to BP, who's in Pepper Pike. BP, good evening.
Good evening, Les and Dennis. How you guys doing?
Good. I
Okay.
had to give you a little short shrift last night. We had a guy from the new basketball league for the high school kids who were not going to go to college, and BP wanted to know what he thought about the Cavaliers. So I had to blow you off, as they say.
No, it's okay. I just didn't have time to read his bio. It's kind of hard when you're driving the car. So.
Okay, what's on your mind?
What's up?
Well, I did hear you talking. You know, it's funny. I checked ESPN this afternoon while I was at my office, and it was like 4 o'clock, and it was like, why the hell is there an NBA game going on a Thursday at 4 o'clock? Then I saw it said London, and I was like, okay, like they did not even publicize that game at all. And I unfortunately watched a good amount of TV. So I was like, NBA is supposed to be such a great marketing guru. I mean, did you guys know about this game today in London?
Yeah, barely.
before it
I
happened?
wasn't quite. Yeah, I wasn't quite sure when it was going to be or what time it was going to be. But if you're the NBA and you want to promote yourself, would you use the Wizards and the Knicks? And by the way,
Well-
the Knicks are is a perfect example when you hear that leagues that are formed or leagues that are in progress that they need New York to be successful. The NBA has proven that couldn't be further from the truth. When was the last time the Knicks were relevant?
No. I mean, the Knicks
Riley?
last won a championship, I believe, in the early 70s with DeBusschere and Paul Frazier, and that's,
Yeah.
a million years ago.
And they
So
had
you're
looks
right.
at it under Pat Riley. After Riley left as head coach, I can't. The Phil Jackson regime was
No,
a disaster.
nothing.
I mean, yeah, they've been a serious problem for
They
years.
haven't had a serious player, I don't think, either. Can you name a legitimate all-star guy?
I mean, they would claim
Knicks?
Carmelo when they
Well,
got
Carmelo
him from
maybe,
Denver,
yeah.
but yeah, I mean, it's been a long.
Dry
Well,
spell.
this is
This road.
actually one of the things I fear is, like, if you look at the bottom of the standings for the NBA and the upcoming NBA draft, the Cavs are the worst team in the league, but then you got the Knicks and the Bulls right on their heels. So,
Right, so
and
you'd think-
as bad as the
yeah,
Cavs are, they're only like one game ahead of those two teams.
Yeah, and you think they'd want Chicago and New York to be
Right.
competitive,
But
and that's not the
BP,
case.
So I am a little bit
BP.
concerned about that.
BP, hold on. I don't think that matters though. I don't think it used to matter, but I don't now. That isn't there a lumping of
Yeah, the bottom three.
The bottom is
Bottom
the bottom
three will have an
okay.
equal chance.
So you have an equal chance. So they you can't have a race to the bottom by one team.
You're not
or they're
suggesting
trying to-
that Williamson will wind up as a New York Knick, are you?
I'm sorry?
You're not suggesting that Zion Williamson.
I'm concerned. I am concerned about that because anything can happen. With like Dennis said, I mean, it's a there's 3 teams that get that equal 14% chance.
Well, let's see. Let's go in order of what the draft has been fixed. Let's start with LeBron. Let's start with Ewing. Then we'll go to LeBron. So Chicago's next up, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think Chicago's had.
By the way,
Derrick Rose as the #1 pick. They jumped up to the top of the draft when they got Jabari Parker.
Right.
So
Hold on 1 second. The views expressed by Les Levine on More Sports and Les Levine is not necessarily indicative of what he really feels like about it. Perhaps.
Yeah. I mean,
then again, it might.
Yeah, I did want to mention, I'm looking forward to the NFL championship games this weekend. No matter how the outcome is, I think we're going to have a great Super Bowl no matter what, unless you really hate the Patriots.
All right, let me ask you this question, BP, and to the D-Man, who I respect fully and will agree with whatever he says. You've got 2 games. One is indoors, right, in New Orleans. You're playing that in the afternoon, and then you got the other game outside in Kansas City where it will be 0 degrees, and you're playing that by night. Who are these geniuses who come up with these decisions?
Well, I have a business associate in Boston, and I said, that game's going to start at 6:40 p.m. in Kansas City. It's going to be obviously in the single digits or colder. I said, they should be playing that game in Florida.
Okay.
Certainly not at 7 o'clock at night from 7 to 10:30. They should flip-flop the times with the New Orleans Saints.
Well, that's my point exactly.
I'm guessing it's a rotational basis with the network. Just a guess.
No, of course it is.
Where the network that has this game, it's its rotation to have it in prime time,
right. And I'll go
regardless
one step
of where it is.
You want to know the dirty secret about this, BP?
Mm-hmm.
Television loves snow. It looks beautiful on the screen.
No, you're right.
I mean,
I was watching a replay of the Kansas City, who they play, the Colts. Was that the game? It seems like it was like a
just
month
last
ago.
week,
It was
yeah.
a couple days ago.
Yeah.
That game was a blowout, So, but yeah, it looked good early on when that snow was just cresting up on the field. But I was also thinking, that Cleveland used to look that way in the playoffs back in the day.
Right.
Yeah, and by the way, if you followed the weather while the Browns were not playing in the playoffs, it would have been perfect if the games were here. Maybe not this Sunday, but certainly right now. All right, BP, we got to move on. Wait, who are you picking to win the Super Bowl?
Well, I mean, we don't have how about I'll give you my picks for, I think New Orleans will win. I really do. I think that's just an indoor track meet, and I like New Orleans to win, and I also like, I just hate the Patriots, and I hate Belichick, so I got to go with Kansas City.
All right, very great logic. All right, BP, thank you for the call. 216-575-0403. Email us during the show at realleslavine@gmail.com. Northfield Park is your home for live and simulcast racing. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Saturday. Post time is 6 p.m. And, of course, they're open early at noon every day for live and simulcast activity from all over the country on the top thoroughbred and harness tracks. Enjoy the free handicapping contest all weekend long, including the popular Road to the Derby contest on Saturdays beginning this Saturday, the 19th of January. Free admission, free parking every day. That's at Northfield Park. Dennis Maniloff and I return in a moment. I'm on 92.3 The Fan tomorrow from 10 until 2. Then I'll also be on Monday from 10 until 2. That's 92.3 The Fan. And we'll come back in a moment exclusively on cleveland.com.
Your basement is damp, dirty, and not somewhere you want to spend time. Let Nature Stone Flooring transform your basement into a true extension of your home. Nature Stone's proprietary hydrostatic ports allow water to simply evaporate, so no mold or mildew. Plus, it has a higher insulation rating than carpet and is warmer than linoleum, vinyl, wood, or tile.
Schedule your free in-home estimate easily online today and get up to 50% off.
Nature Stone is the affordable basement floor solution that beautifies your home. Nature Stone, the only concrete solution.
There are tastes we remember. Every smell brings the happiness of times gone by. Experience this every time you walk into Gallucci's Italian Foods. Whether you need lunch on the go, a catered party, or that perfect blend of wine, meats, and cheeses, Gallucci's has exactly what you're looking for. Straight from Mama's kitchen for old world traditions or original experiences. From the tastes you remember to new flavors you'll never forget. Gallucci's is a tasty branch of your family tree.
When it comes to selling you a mattress, most retailers are handing you a long line of extra steps that drive up costs and create confusion. At the Original Mattress Factory, we simplify the mattress shopping experience by building mattresses and box springs in our own local factories and selling them direct to you. It's short, sweet, and simply makes sense. So experience more than just a mattress store. Experience an original, the Original Mattress Factory.
Welcome back. More sports and Les Levine exclusively on cleveland.com. Time for a How Come Quickie. How come when Sir Edmund Hillary climbed Mount Everest, nobody was there to take his picture to prove he did it? Wouldn't you think somebody should have been there already?
Yeah.
They would have if it took place in this day and age. 216-575-0403 is the number to call. The D-Man, Dennis Maniloff, is with us. All right, go ahead.
Well, I was going to say, I noticed you got over your shoulder the Kluber trade talks over here.
Yeah.
And Machado, in my mind, Machado and Harper have to pop first before that happens.
Okay.
But I believe it will happen, Les.
All right, we didn't talk about this during the break, but I was going to come right on and say, because of Machado, if he in fact that should scare the Indians, that brings the White Sox into the thick of things, at least in that Central Division. So, what are you looking for if you're Chris Antonetti? Without naming names, what positions, what value are you looking for?
Well, listen, I think Kluber's name has been in the news too long. It's almost a fait accompli that it's going to happen. Okay, not because they're itching to get rid of him, but because they have needs elsewhere. They have actually a deep staff, but they desperately need position
this
players.
This is the only thing that are assets for them.
Yeah, with MLB quality on their baseball cards. They need one, maybe two outfielders that have legitimate MLB credentials.
Right, not prospects in this case.
I mean, I get what they've done so far. And I get bringing in Bowers and bringing in a Luplow and whatnot and trying to get younger and more flexible and shedding some cash, i.e., Gomes. But you still have to give me proven MLB bats. I don't think you can rely on Bowers, for example, to fill one of the spots.
And you don't even know that he can play left field.
No. And what Kluber would be able to do, and here's what I think's happened. I think the Indians have put both Bauer and Kluber out there. I believe the reports that because there's too much smoke. Okay, they put two of them out there, and almost everyone, if not every team, has preferred Kluber. They would rather go the safe route with Kluber, even though he's got more miles on the tires.
But he's locked up for a while.
And he's locked up through next year, and there's an option after that. But the point is, Bauer is a little more of a loose cannon. You got to take on, the second guessing and all that stuff that comes with him. So I think they want to go the Kluber route, but the problem the Indians are having is they're not getting back, or they're not hearing a return that they like.
Well, because some of those teams are waiting towards spring training, see who's going to blink first.
Specifically Harper and Machado, because you think about the Dodgers. If the Dodgers land Harper, they have a glut. Even though they did unload Kemp and Puig in the Cincinnati trade, I still think that whoever winds up being the suitors for Harper and Machado are going to have pieces to deal. Now, if it's the White Sox, I don't think the Indians and the White Sox are doing a deal. No. Okay? But if it's a National League team, absolutely. If one of those guys or both of them go to a National League team or National League teams, the Indians are next in line to make a deal with Kluber.
216-575-0403. I mentioned what's coming up in the next few days. Monday night, Paul Hoynes will be here.
The great one.
Yeah, the great one. And he'll be heading out to Goodyear soon after that. Pitchers, catchers reporting on the 12th of February?
Was it about his 750th spring training? I mean, Hoynes is just, he's a machine.
He's unbelievable.
He's incredible.
216-575-0403. Well, we asked you a Facebook question earlier today. We wanted to know your thoughts on the Kyrie Irving semi-apology to LeBron James, which didn't include an apology to the Cleveland fans during that. Andy Mees responded. He says, while it sounds glamorous being in the spotlight when the team is winning, Kyrie has recently found out the hard way that in Boston you have to take the good with the bad, especially when you're the leader. Wayne Richard Lyon says, shame he was too immature to deal with not being the man on the Cavaliers. He could not be content to get to the finals with James and the rest of the team. I tune him out now because he's in Boston. Mary Kay Reese, I read different accounts or different takes on the apology. taking it with a grain of salt. Question, would Coach K have tolerated Irving's behavior when he was at Duke? Moving on to baseball, opening day. Angelo Costanzo says, unless it's useless, 2 years too late, he just needs to shut up.
Well,
A little harsh.
What I found interesting, I watched the clip of him talking to the media and saying that he called Bron. He was saying it with an awful lot of joy in his face and his voice. And I'm like, you might want to soft pedal that a little bit, Kyrie. Try to trick us with a little bit of a frown, but everything was like, hey, I called Bron, and hey, we're all good. I'm like, come on,
Can
Kyrie,
you imagine
settle down.
The phone rings. It's a dinner in Los Angeles. You got Love and LeBron. And LeBron looks at who's calling, and he picks it up and says, hey, Kevin, take a look at this.
Or he puts it on speaker. All right, go.
Go. The maitre d' needs to know what you say.
Bron, I apologize. Okay, we're good. I mean, I think LeBron has put that in the rearview mirror. He's got to worry about his groin getting back to 100%.
And by the way, this is the first serious injury he's had. He's missed 11 games so far. They're 4-7 while he's out. And I was reading somewhere that Luke Walton is really on the hot seat, and what the worst thing that happened, which is impossible to believe. Well, it's no surprise, but it's hard to believe. But he says the loss to the Cavaliers didn't play well in Los Angeles.
No, nor should it. And I get that they were without LeBron, the Lakers. But here's what's fascinating about these Cavaliers. 9 victories this year.
Yep.
Still in single digits.
Yep.
But somehow, out of those 9, at the Lakers, again, without LeBron, but still not easy.
No, it's still at the Lakers.
At Indianapolis.
Yeah.
Or at Indiana.
Where they haven't won much at all.
At Philadelphia, when Philadelphia hadn't lost in, 10 years at home? And home to the Houston Rockets. Those are 4 of the Cavs' 9 victories.
Isn't this an example of the NBA teams looking at the schedule and say, all right, we're 3 games in 5 nights. Let's just not even prepare for the Cavs. We'll just show up and play the game and beat them by 20.
I used to think that, Les, but the flip side of that is if you're a player on the opposing team, you're saying, here's my chance to fatten my stats. Yeah. I'm going to go out and I'm going to drop 50 on these guys, which, of course, Harden, was about to do when they got him in Houston, and they shut him down after 3 quarters. But if I were a player on another team that was superior to the Cavs, I'd be like, this is time for us to put 150 on these guys.
You can follow us on Facebook at facebook.com/More Sports and Les Levine with new content posted each and every day. D-Man Dennis Maniloff is here. More Sports and Les Levine continues exclusively on cleveland.com.
It takes attention to detail. With your local Bryant dealer, you're getting more than just a technician. You're getting someone who pays attention to your needs and the little things that make a big difference. It takes a dealer you can rely on. And to keep your family warm this winter,
here, let me show you how this works.
It takes Bryant.
Bryant. Whatever it takes.
It takes Smiley One Heating and Cooling to bring the heat when things get chilly. Find us at 440-449-HEAT.
Let's take a look at this date in sports history. D-Man, this wasn't that long ago, but look what's happened in sports since. January 17th, 1995, the Los Angeles Rams announced they're moving to St. Louis. Now they're back in Los Angeles.
I'll never forget, Les, being part of the Browns coverage team in '99. And first year, couch, the whole thing. The Browns are back.
Right.
They go to St. Louis and face the greatest show on turf. Warner and the boys. We went. It was, I think it was a TWA dome at that time.
Right.
And I mean, the Rams did what they did that year to a lot of teams. They handled the Browns, but it was a fun trip just to be able to go there. But yeah, the St. Louis Rams not long ago.
216-575-0403. In the last week, we talked about it last week, but since then, any new thoughts on the Browns coaching staff, what they've done, what they haven't done?
I mean, there's so much positivity, Les, that it almost makes you nervous. I know
they might not win 11 games?
I mean, I'm hearing people say if Kitchens doesn't get them to the playoffs next year, he might be fired after 1 year. I mean, are you kidding me? You got to give him a chance. There could be a market correction, Les. There could be next year where the league is on to the Browns and the league has had an offseason to study Mayfield. Maybe he has to take a little step back before he readjusts. We don't know.
You'd have to think that Mahomes would be in that. Well,
department. Right, but this was Mahomes' first year of really playing. Right. So maybe he gets corrected next year. But again, that's negativity, and we don't have room for that right now because why not be positive about the Browns until and unless something else comes up to show us otherwise. But right now I'm thrilled with the Kitchens hire. I went on record as saying I was hoping that he would be the guy. His staff is certainly being praised. I don't pretend to know everybody on his staff, but when you read what the national guys say, what other players say about the people that Kitchens has been adding, and by extension, by the way, Dorsey, too. He's helping. Of
course.
It's just is all good.
Well, let's take a look at one of the hires today. And, of course, Joe Witt was hired. He's 40 years old. Packers defensive pass game coordinator. They're coming with new exciting names for these positions. Packers finished 12th in the NFL in pass yards allowed per game, which is 235. So Joe Witt comes to Cleveland to help out. One of the interesting things, even though the commonality is with Kitchens and Dorsey, which is just two people, but they're getting guys from not just where they came last year or where they were working last year. They're bringing in NFL guys from all over the place.
Yeah, and there seems to be a little bit of a Packers feel to it. Of course, there's
not as much as you'd think.
No, but there is a little bit. Of course, you're going to get the Cardinals, with Wilkes and what he's got. But it looks to me, and you hear the universal praise of Monken and the fact that a lot of people believe that Monken and Kitchens are just going to have a blast creating this offense. Two incredible offensive minds that you hear and read that are going to be on the same page, most likely.
I'm pretty sure we heard that about Haley and Jackson last year.
Again, where's the jug of brown and orange Kool-Aid? Because I'm guzzling it right now.
Yeah, but I think we all are.
Yeah,
we've waited 20 years for this.
Sure, and why not be excited? Again, until they show us something bad, until something bad happens, right now, why not be excited? And I'll say this, Les. I would have felt differently, not only about what I'm saying now, but also maybe about Kitchens, if the last game of the season hadn't gone the way it did. I was very impressed with the way the Browns ended the season, the fact that they almost won that game. Right. In other words, if they go to Baltimore and get handled like 30-7, you're like, okay, they were fattening up off these bad teams, and then when they really had a chance, it was as losses go, that was a good one because you were facing a hot team, a very good defense in their house with playoffs on the line for them, and you acquitted yourself very well. So I think that the Browns players had a lot of confidence going into the offseason saying we can beat anybody.
I never thought Greg Williams had a shot at the job, but maybe if they win that last game, maybe you got to think differently, unless they were never going to consider him.
Yeah. Barring 52-0 over the Ravens in that game, I didn't see it. I didn't see Williams coming back just because.
Well, I'm glad he got a job with the.
Yeah.
He's with the New York Jets.
Good for him.
Good for him, exactly.
Sure, and by the way, the Browns, no ill will toward him at all. They nothing but praise for the job that he did, as they should.
Although that might have been the only thing they did wrong perceptually at the press conference when Dorsey did not give him a mention, which I thought he should have given him a little pat on the back for what he did down the stretch.
Right, but didn't he at the end, his end of season presser do it though? Right after the season was over, didn't Dorsey meet the media?
I suppose. I just thought.
But I hear you. It would have been, first of all, we'd like to thank, Greg Williams for a job well done, but maybe they just didn't want to revisit that.
Well, you
just
have to
let it
understand, I'm the guy who's still mad at Jay Leno for taking over the Tonight Show and not even mentioning Johnny Carson on the first night. But that's another story for another day.
Are you gonna get a telephone apology call from Jay Leno?
Yeah.
On behalf of
I'll pass it on to Kyrie.
Carson estate.
216-575-0403 is the number to call. Again, Monday night, Paul Hoynes will be here, Bud Shaw on Tuesday. Wednesday, I have no idea. You'll be here Thursday, right?
Yes, sir.
We'll just find somebody off the street coming if they're waiting for it. It should be cold and snowy by that time. They'd like to come into a nice warm facility if they can do that. You were talking about Kluber before, and again, not that you're guessing, you have educated guesses. You're talking about two major league outfielders, or one and a top prospect?
I mean, I see what the Indians are doing in center field. They want to give Leonis Martin and Greg Allen, and I'm thinking a platoon there. So they feel like they have center field, I'm not going to say solved, but that they don't have to go get a center fielder is my point.
And you don't need power from center field, but you do need it in the corners.
Right, but left and right, I mean, to me, left and right is open. It really is. I mean, yeah, you could talk about is Carlos potentially going to play the outfield? Is Bauer's going to play the outfield? Is Luplow going to blow people away in spring training? I want to see proven major league bats in those positions. And maybe that's asking for too much.
I'd like to see the opening day lineup include two outfielders who are not on the team right now.
Sure, I'm with you, and I think that's what the Indians believe that a Kluber trade could bring them. But right now, the market is too bottled up for this to happen. It doesn't mean it won't happen.
Did you get a sense that they've got a lower level, money-wise lower level free agent guy on the line?
Not necessarily. I mean,
so it's going to have to be a trade.
I think the trade happens before the free agency, yes.
I mentioned Sokolowski's University Inn. I think I've set the record. I've been there once a week for the last 25 years, except when I've been on vacation, but I think I can be excused for that. They're the winners of the James Beard Foundation Award. Only 5 restaurants in the country make that coveted position. Mike and Bernie Sokolowski's University Inn, 5 minutes out of downtown. Take the Abbey Avenue exit, swing under the bridge. That's where you're going to find it, which is where it's been since 1923. Dennis Maniloff and I return in a moment with this date in Les Levine history. We're brought to you exclusively on cleveland.com.
The concrete in your garage is uneven, cracked, pitted, and just plain ugly. Transform your garage into a welcoming entryway with Nature Stone flooring. Reduce tracked-in dirt, eliminate puddling and salt damage. Plus, Nature Stone corrects uneven concrete so you don't have to worry about tripping or slipping.
Call or go to naturestone.com to schedule your free in-home estimate today and get up to 50% off.
Nature Stone is the affordable garage floor solution that beautifies your home. Nature Stone, the only concrete solution.
The Ohio Lottery Partners in Education program has been recognizing role model students and teachers since 2007. To nominate a deserving teacher or student, go to ohiolottery.com. In the About section, find Supporting Education. There, you can nominate students in kindergarten through 12th grade as academic all-stars. Teachers can be honored as the Teacher of the Month. Every school that participates is eligible for the School of the Year. The Ohio Lottery Partners in Education, where stars shine.
All right, D-Man, let's take a look at this date in Les Levine history, January 17th, 1964. Les wants to transfer to a school where he can play quarterback. Unfortunately, no school wanted him. What do you think of the glut of these guys switching schools?
Look at that hair helmet.
Yeah. Oh, this is the Week in Review because it's our last live show of the week. 1973, members of the 73 Dolphins vow to drink champagne each year when the last undefeated team loses a game. Les hopes they all cut their hands on when they try to open the bottle. I think that's one of the worst traditions in all of sports. Let's continue on. Les watches Super Bowl I, decides it's a bad idea because the NFL is going to beat the NFL or beat the AFL each and every year for a long time. That's this week's Les review, except for this one. It coincided with Mickey Mantle's birthday. In Little League, Les always used the Louisville Slugger Mickey Mantle 31-inch bat. The Mick got more hits out of it because he was a switch hitter. You only have a certain amount of hits in a bat, and if you use them up all right-handed, that'll happen.
You know, Les, I'm thinking about the champagne, the celebration of the Dolphins. I wonder how many times during a day members of that Patriots team don't sit there. I'm not saying Belichick does, because we know he doesn't.
Right.
Or Brady, for that matter. But how many times do they go through there and say, we were that close. We were a couple crazy plays away from 19-0.
Absolutely.
With unquestionably the greatest team of all time if you finish the job.
You ask how many times they think about it. And one time, when I was doing Cleveland State games on radio or TV at the time, it was TV at the time, and Rolly Massimino was here. And I asked Rolly, how many times did you watch the Villanova win over Georgetown? He said, oh, no, I never looked at it again. Anybody who met Rolly Massimino for 3 seconds knows he watched it he woke up in the middle of the night, got a little glass of hot milk, and watched the game. And that's right. That's your life.
Like, if I were Kyrie, I'd watch that fourth quarter against the Warriors every time and know that every time that shot went up, it was going in.
It was going in. It wasn't going to clank off the back of the rim. All right, we talked earlier about potential free agents for the Indians to sign or look for. Let's take a look. Yeah. Harper.
Is that the dream list?
How did that get
here
in?
we go.
All right, here's a guy I'd love to have, A.J. Pollock. Nick Markakis, what do you think?
Realistic, I guess.
Yeah.
But again, no, I don't think any of this pops until a trade's made.
But I'd like to see Marwin Gonzalez, a switch hitter, can play a lot of different places. Adam Jones, not the player he used to be. Melky Cabrera played with the Indians last year. If you got it, you got it,
He'll
right?
be available. There's no reason to hurry on a Melky or a Geyer, for that matter, or even a Holiday. Here's the other thing. Not just the fact that the Indians have a huge trade chip out there. And by the way, I'm discounting Bauer as the trade chip. I think the market has spoken that they're not as interested in Bauer as the Indians would have hoped. But Kluber's the trade chip. But even beyond that, you have to see what the price of the second and third tier free agents is going to be.
Right.
Because so few guys have signed. I mean, a guy like Brantley has signed, yes. But he signed for less than probably he thought he was going to.
Let's go to the phones. We'll go to Mayfield Heights. Go ahead. You're on the air. John, go ahead.
A couple points about the Indians. I actually believe Greg Allen and Leonis Martin will have, outside of the home runs, almost as good in numbers as Bryce Harper. And I'm sorry, but guys with those big contracts, I think they make real problems in the clubhouse. Talk about Kyrie Irving and jealousy. I just think that tears up an organization sometimes. I can't think of anybody other than A-Rod who won his one World Series, and that Yankees team was so good they won in spite of him.
All right, well, D-Man and I were okay with you. We had to make a recovery after you said they'd have the similar numbers to Bryce Harper.
Yeah,
but now you came back, but you made a comeback.
I mean, look at his batting average. He goes into some horrifying slumps.
Who, Harper?
Yes.
Okay, well, you want to put Greg Allen and okay.
But John, I think you're speaking to the overarching point, which has where the league has gone more to shorter contracts. It just has, and it's setting up a situation where players are not getting what they think they deserve. But I don't believe it's collusion. I think it's advanced metrics and advanced intelligence on what these players are worth.
It's almost even common sense. Listen, if those guys hit 260, Greg Allen hit 260 for a period at the end of the season, and he plays really good defense and gets on base, he's almost going to be as good for the Indians as Bryce Harper.
No, come on.
But again,
don't do that to us.
John, don't do that to them. Don't do that.
Make a counter argument here.
Okay, but don't do it to those two guys. If they give you a solid little platoon, that's fine, but don't bring Harper into it. How about the corners? Would you like to see major league caliber players on the corners? I presume you would.
This is the other side of the equation. Absolutely. It is inexcusable. We have a 5-year window here, and the Dolans have absolutely committed a sin by not taking advantage of this. You have to go all in now.
What's the 5-year? Hold on, John. John, what's the 5-year window? You talking about Lindor?
I'm talking about Lindor and Ramirez and the pitching staff. Yeah.
Fair enough. Okay.
And to me, you go for it. If you lose money, you'll make it up when you strip the team down and try to rebuild, because revenue sharing gets you that money back when you have all salary.
All right, John. Thank you. Appreciate it very much. Let's take a look at the potential. Well, we did. We looked at them already. So I'm so thrown off by what John said about Harper.
I wish he wouldn't have brought Harper. I like his point about a solid platoon in center.
Right.
They'll live with it. But they have
if you have other corners.
Yeah, you have to. You can't go 3 platoons out there. But regarding the Dolans, I used to say, okay, the Dolans need to spend. But they're saying here's their counter, and I'm not a spokesman for them. I don't talk to them or anything. But their counter is, look, last 2 years, large payroll for us, meaning Cleveland.
Yep.
And what did it get them? Two postseason wins and 6 postseason losses.
You can make an argument that put a lot of people in the seats, but not enough if you don't have the championship to go with it.
Still bottom 10 in attendance. I never tell anybody how to spend their money or how many. I never tell somebody to go to the ballpark. But the ownership's saying we had this in attendance, we had this in payroll, and it added up to 2 wins one year and a sweep last year.
Well, one of the things they've got going for them this year, you would think that a lot of people wouldn't buy in ticket sales-wise, but if you combine it with the guarantee to get All-Star tickets, you can sell season tickets along with it.
That's a huge boost, no question, to have the All-Star game this year.
Northfield Park, your home for live and simulcast racing. You can catch the excitement of live harness racing Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, as well as Saturday evenings with a 6 p.m. post time. And they open early every day at noon for simulcast action from the top thoroughbred and harness tracks all around the world. It's free admission, free parking every day at Northfield Park. Each week, the Ohio Lottery's Partners in Education program recognizes students who are role models for across the state of Ohio. This week, we head to Gilmore Academy. We meet C.J. Charleston. C.J. excels in football and basketball, track, and in the classroom. The Ohio Lottery is proud to salute C.J. Charleston, this week's Shining Star.
C.J. Charleston is Gilmore's man for all seasons. A state champion in track last spring, the Division V Player of the Year in football this fall, and now a basketball 4-year starter and guard that makes the Lancers offense go.
We're spreading the floor. We're going to get the ball to him and Connor and let them make decisions. What 2 better guys to do that with? And with what he had 7 assists and 31 points. I mean, that's just incredible. It's tremendous. It goes back to his work ethic, too. I mean, playing 3 sports at that high of a level, it's not just natural ability. You have to put time into it, and he does that.
My jumper has improved a lot, and my bounce, my bounce has definitely improved. But, I think it just got better being a better leader, because when I was very shy coming in, it's just different now. I'm a leader, so I just got to step up.
Charleston is playing with a great deal of confidence on the basketball court. He and the Lancers are on a roll. CJ has scored 30 points or more in 5 of Gilmore's last 6 games. Charleston is in basketball shape after Gilmore's deep playoff run in football. CJ has taken to the Lancers' new system under first-year head coach Dan DeCrane.
It's simple. I mean, I drive. I know I got Connor, Ian, Ryan, everybody out on the three-point line when everybody collapses. Then I know when to take it up myself.
Just his burst, his explosiveness. You can't keep him in front, really, and then he can make shots over you. They're putting 6'4" to 6'6" guys on him, and he's making shots over them. He can really play at a high level in 3 sports. Special kid. I mean, he's going to lead us in all-time points in a couple games.
CJ was recognized nationally by Sports Illustrated as part of their Faces in the Crowd. He's an all-state caliber player in football, track, and basketball, and a coach's dream.
Leads by example, quiet, like he mentioned. Kind of reminds me of me, not player-wise, but from a personality-wise, just quiet, a little bit introverted, but not in a negative way. He's got the voice, and he's learning. It's just kind of opening up more and more. You know, after the Holy Name loss, which was tough for us, he spoke up a little bit, and I think those guys want to see, you know, him lead them, and they're willing to do so. And now, instead of just example, it's by voice, which is big for him.
CJ carries a 3.7 grade point average with challenging classes at Gilmore. Next year, he's headed to Youngstown State to play for the Penguins' nationally ranked football team.
I like the coaching staff there. You got Bo Pelini, NFL coach. I just like the environment there, and I feel like we have some great coming up in Youngstown.
When I'm on. If you know a student deserving of recognition, visit OhioLottery.com, go to the About section, find out about the tab marked supporting education to nominate him or her as an academic all-star. He or she could end up as one of our shining stars from the Ohio Lottery. You can follow us on Facebook, Facebook.com/More Sports and Les Levine. New content is posted each and every day. You'll get your chance to have your picture and your name and your opinions right here on More Sports and Les Levine, and seen exclusively on cleveland.com. Are you giving me something that I should know about tomorrow? I'm on radio from 10 until 2. What's going on?
No. It was something else. Yeah.
Okay.
It was. But well, I do have a How Come Quickie.
I'm ready.
What if the Browns' new coach, Witt, becomes exasperated, let's say, with Myles Garrett? Not that we would know that he would. Right. He'd be at wit's end.
No question about that. Excellent.
I mean,
One a week is all we need. My first job in radio was at WITZ in Jasper, Indiana. And I used to say, this is WITZ, your wit's end. That was it.
Excellent.
All right. Tell me, by the way, I stayed up and watched some of the Cavaliers game last night. They're hard to watch. What am I supposed to do when a game is on? As an objective viewer of this, in a journalistic way, I've got to watch them. But as a fan, it's tough to do.
Right, because you're not sure who's going to be here for the long haul. I guess you're supposed to watch Sexton and hope that he develops. I haven't. What worries me a little about Sexton, and granted, very young. We know he just turned 20, young bull and all that. But what worries me a little bit is when I close my eyes and think a few years down the road, what part of his game is going to be superstar-like?
I don't see it.
Is he going to be a great passer? Not necessarily, because he's not one now.
He's not going to be a three-point shooter.
You don't think he's going to develop a three-point shot. Now, he definitely can get to the hole, but eventually teams are going to be like, well, you know what? We're not going to worry. If you can't shoot outside, we're not going to. We're going to sag off you a little bit. And he's not going to be a great defender just by virtue of his lack of size. So I wonder, where is he going to be a star? In what part of his game? And so again, it's early. It's only his rookie season. I get it. We're not even, 2/3 of the way through his rookie season yet. But that's a concern that I had right out of the gate.
All right. And then you go back when the Cavaliers looked at him a season ago in college at Alabama. They had to project that even further down because, I mean, what you and I aren't seeing, they saw less of it last year, and yet they still pulled the trigger on getting using him as their number one pick.
And I again, I'm not second guessing the pick, but I'm just wondering, as I've watched him play this year, I want to see something jump out at me, like he's an ace at doing X, and I haven't seen that yet.
All right, when I watch Larry Drew, I feel sorry for the guy. He's put in an untenable position here, trying to coach this team. Part of it is the talent, but the other part is, for a while the Cavs have always had guys on the bench. I'm talking about coaches, assistant coaches who've got good NBA experience and know how to help with whatever comes along. Right now they've got young, you got Longobardi, and that's about it. You got G League guys on the bench, or am I missing somebody?
I don't know exactly.
I mean, it doesn't look like an NBA coaching good situation.
Look. Drew is one of the last people I'm worried about. I think Larry.
You think he's here next year?
I mean, I hope, I think Larry Drew deserves a chance to win in Cleveland.
He's got to get better
You
players.
know he can't win with this crew.
Right.
But and of course the honks will say, well, what about if he had even Kevin Love or Larry Nance is down now? I get it. The injuries have hurt the Cavs, no doubt. But I'm not going to say they'd be demonstrably better if they were 100% healthy. This roster is still not equipped.
And by the way, you
to win a lot of games.
You can't trade Kevin Love right now because the contenders got to see where he is physically, and they're not going to see it until he plays a couple of weeks in a row.
Right, and Les, I don't want to be the I told you so guy, but I'm going to be. Why? Why did you back up the Brinks truck for that guy? You knew he was unreliable.
Did they think that
would? You knew it. And he's not even that great of a player when he's out there.
No, what were they thinking? That maybe it'll show the fans that they're serious about being a contender?
I guess.
I mean, what they've proven more than anything else is what we've all known. You can't compete and rebuild at the same time. It's just impossible.
Right, but even the moment they announced that trade, I was like, what? Why would you build around Kevin Love? Even if he's 100% healthy.
And he never is.
And he isn't. He's not your centerpiece. He's a guy who works well as a complementary star.
Right.
I don't even want to use the word star. Complementary good player, really good player, not a star. But he has to be allowed to run with a bigger guy, okay, or a leader, or a better player. He's not your number. He should not be your number one guy on a team, and that's what they made him when they signed him to that deal. And I just didn't understand it, and I still won't, and I know I won't for the rest of the time he's here.
So where do they go from here?
They keep losing. I'm not saying they do it intentionally, but they're not
set
good
up to
enough
lose.
to win much. Yeah. And then you do what the NBA is a fascinating thing. I've talked about this numerous times on shows, Les, is that their competitive balance dynamic is broken, or their competitive balance paradigm is broken. There is no competitive balance in the NBA, and yet the revenue's there.
No question.
They're making money.
We got to go. We'll see you next Thursday night.
Can't wait.
You want
Can't
to
wait.
take a cot and sleep here, and then you'll be all right?
Wait for Hoynes.
Thanks for the D-Man, Dennis Maniloff. Monday, I'm on radio tomorrow, 92.3 The Fan from 10 until 2, as well as Monday. And Paul Hoynes will be with me on Monday night right here on this show, Bud Shaw on Tuesday. We'll see you then. Of all the shows I've ever done, this was the most recent.